A WIS investigation is tracking how some towns in the state are spending money meant for some vital public safety programs.
WIS found some towns are not turning over fines and fees to the state, instead keeping that money for themselves. As our lead investigator Jody Barr found, that practice is a violation of state law.
It is, and although it's a violation, it has not stopped some towns in South Carolina from keeping that money and spending it how they see fit. We went to nearly every town that owes this state, and this is what we found.
49.
As the state's police academy and victim services continue to suffer financially, towns like Cottageville continue to sit on money that doesn't belong to it. Cottageville is in the Low Country. It has a police force and town court, and it's supposed to turn over a portion of the fines and court fees to the state. The problem is Cottageville hasn't paid the treasurer's office but once since 2009. The treasurer's office estimates the town owes the state $775,000. I'm Jody Barr. I'm down from Columbia. I work with the NBC affiliate in Columbia. And I want to talk to you all about there's $775,000 outstanding owed to the treasurer's office. He's trying to find out what's going on with that money. We spoke with Cottageville's clerk, Sandy Cox. Cox took over the clerk's office 3 years ago, but says she didn't make the decision regarding how court fines and fees were spent. She says the decision not to send the state the $775,000 was from a previous administration. So that's what happened before? They just weren't paying assessments in before?
Basically.
Cox told us she sent remittance forms to the treasurer's office every month since she took office, but the records the treasurer sent us shows the town's only paid in once since January 2009.
I don't know who you're getting your information from.
This is from the state treasurer's office.
Well, they're wrong. I pay every month. Every month I remit.
For the past 3 years?
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few months that I haven't. But for 90% of the time I've been here, I have been remitting money.
It's a similar story in Timmonsville. Its police force disbanded 18 months ago, and so did the town's court. State records show Timmonsville officials have not reported fines and fees assessments to the state in 28 months, long before shutting its court down. Based on the town's last payment to the treasurer's office, it's estimated Timmonsville owes the state $119,583.
I'm not aware of it.
Mary Bynes is running the town now. She claimed not to know about the money owed to the state. Do you all intend to follow up with the treasurer's office to make sure what's owed is paid?
Of course we will, and we have been following up with the treasurer's office, but I'm not aware of that, so I can't make any comment on those statements that you just asked.
Okay. It's the same story for other small towns across this state. Clio owes the state $20,000, and the town of Sellers owes an estimated $184,289. We went to Sellers Town Hall, but didn't get an answer and never got a call back. Ridgeville owes the state, but even the town's own records and audits cannot show what the town owes South Carolina. State records show the town's already being penalized by the treasurer's office for major accounting mistakes found there in 2011. The problem now, because of that, we can't estimate what Ridgeville owes. Do you have any idea what you owe the state?
No, I sure don't.
Mayor James Williams doesn't know either and sees that as a positive. The audit was so bad, the state doesn't even know what the town owes at this point.
Well, that's good.
How's that good?
Because if they don't know, it's their job to find out. That's all I can tell you.
Well, it's actually the town's job to report this accurately.
Well, you know.
Are you Miss Wren?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Jody Barr. Work with a WIS out of Columbia. Liz Wren is the town of Bono's clerk of court. State records show the town has submitted 2 payments to the state since January 2009. Based on that last payment, it's estimated the town owes taxpayers $160,089.
It was between paying payroll, meeting payroll, and paying this.
So basically the town was, the fines and fees that were supposed to go to the state, the town was spending that.
Well, we were paying salaries and stuff.
Who made the decision to pay, instead of sending that money back to the state, to pay the town's debts with that? The town built a new town hall, has its own fire department, and a fully staffed police force.
We know we owe it.
Wren says the town survives on traffic tickets and court fees, and part of those fees are supposed to go to the police academy to pay for training the town's own officers.
Now they're charging us. And then if they go for a class or something, they're charging us per meal.
Do you know why they're charging?
Well, because they don't have the money.
And you know why they don't have the money?
Same thing for us.
It's because this isn't being sent in, is what the academy is telling us.
Listen to me. This is a small little town.
Sure.
It's not right that some towns keep the money for themselves and the others send it in as is required by law.
State Treasurer Curtis Loftus can't do much to force towns like Bono to pay. That's why agencies like the Police Academy and Crime Victim Services continue to struggle. Do you think that if the folks who owed this money really knew on the back end the impacts that they're causing across the state for not paying it, do you think that would change some conduct, change some minds?
You know, I don't know about those things. I used to always think I could understand that. People just look at things from their own perspective. And if you're the county clerk of a small town, the most important thing to you is to make sure that the policeman gets paid, because maybe you've only got one. I'm not saying that they made the right or the wrong decision. I'm saying they didn't really have that option. They have to send this money in by law.
Well, the treasurer tells me he plans to go to the legislature this coming session to lobby for tougher laws, collection laws for the treasurer's office. As it stands now, all he can do is ask these towns to pay, and when they don't, the treasurer can withhold state tax dollars from that town. But with some of these towns, the money they collect from court fines and fees is much greater than they could ever get from the treasurer's office. So at that point, they just make a decision.
I have to argue for the other side, for the towns, and say, in a way, I can see why they can't pay the state, because they simply don't have the money. And if you've got to pay your police force, you've got to pay your firemen, you've got to pay your own fees, is it possible that they just simply do not have the money to forward it to the state?
Yeah, and well, the state's argument, the academy's argument is, if you can't afford to run the town, but you are collecting these fines and fees in your courtrooms, you should still, by law, you've got to remit that money. You know, handle your own budget, but you owe the state of South Carolina this money.
Yeah, important takeaway. I don't think a lot of people realize that when you do get a ticket or something like that, that it goes to the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right, thanks, Jody.